Yep. Good morning, everyone. So, last session we learned some carousels and bootstrap components. Have you tried carousel working? Huh? So, you need practice of those components. Once you know about carousel, some more components we have. Collapse also I showed you. Accordion. Last was accordion. We learned about accordion, carousel, and collapse. So, few more important, you have a drop down. Another option is drop down. What is problem with the drop down in HTML? HTML also have drop down. Then why you need to design a drop down with Bootstrap? Because HTML drop down will not allow any kind of symbols, icons inside them. HTML drop down, I told you it is RC data type. RC data type means it will not allow any icons, symbols. So usually in websites, suppose you see Netflix like site and you see this is a drop down. It is having English, Hindi like that. And you see these are the two options in drop down, and this drop down have an icon inside. This is not HTML drop down. So that is not a HTML drop down, that is designed with Bootstrap, because HTML drop down will not allow any icons, symbols and icons. So this drop down, it allows to configure a list that can drop various directions, drop in various directions. Actually, it is not just only drop down. It can drop in various directions, like you have drop up, you have like drop down, you have like drop start, we have like drop end. It is not just only drop down. Generally, people think it is just drop down, but actually it can drop up, it can drop right, drop left. So it uses the drop. So different directions are possible here. Different directions are possible. So very important is it allows to define icons, to define complex data with icons, symbols, images, etc. You can put anything there. That is drop down's point. So then if anyone asks when to use HTML drop down and when to use Bootstrap drop down. If list is standard, list is not changing, and your list needs some icons, then you can go with Bootstrap. If list is not standard, if list is regularly changing, that means actually, for example, you will have some drop down list, like one list, you select an item, automatically list will be changing. Like you select a country, it will show the cities of that country. You change the country, the cities will change. That means in a drop down, list is not standard, list is changing. In a drop down, list is changing, then this is not good. Bootstrap is not good. Bootstrap is good for a static list. If list is changing, then you have to design by using HTML, right? So here it is good for list, which is static and will not change its items dynamically. So it's good for static and will not change its items dynamically. For that, it is good. Now, what are the classes here? So for that, what are the classes? So the classes for this, we have a drop down. We have a drop down, drop up. We have drop end, drop start, drop end. We have a drop down button. Actually, it is toggle. Drop down toggle. We have drop down and divider. So we have drop down menu. We have drop down item. So drop down related some basic classes are these. So these are required for designing a drop down menu, drop down item, drop down divider. So you see here, suppose we want to create a drop down. Let's copy this here. I will add a new file. So drop down HTML. And we will keep that here. And in this, I'm just adding heading. So drop down. And we have to create a div. This div usually will have a class called drop down. And inside the drop down, we are adding a button. In the button, we have a span, class BI globe. And we have an option, some language. Usually, you see, it is going to display a simple drop down like this. You have a simple drop down like this. But it is not having any appearance. For button, I will put a class BTN and BTN dark. And actually, it can be called as drop down. So yeah, you can put as drop down button. So that means you say drop down toggle. We use as drop down toggle. When I put drop down toggle, then you can see a down arrow will come. So that means now it is treated as a drop down toggle. And now under this, what we need to do for this button, under this button, you need to create an unordered list. Suppose I am just giving an unordered list. For this, we will put a class. This is a drop down menu. We put a drop down menu. In this unordered list, we are having a list item. This is having some English. This is called as drop down item. Drop down item. We call it as drop down item. And similarly, we have another list. So we have a class drop down item. Okay. Here we need a language. Usually different language means you can use Google Translate. There is a Google Translate website. You can open Google Translate. You can enter your text. This is Hindi, and it will display that in Hindi. In different languages, you can choose here. In which language you want, you can choose. What you can do is you can copy and you can paste that here. You can just paste it here. We can have different language contents pasted there. You can take help of Google Translate for that. Now, this important is drop down menu, drop down item. Actually, to make it more better, you can keep in a span, and here you can keep it as drop down class, drop down item text. We can use drop down item text. Here also span. We can use class drop down item text. Down item text. This is another one. Now you can see this drop down menu is there, but it is not opening because this menu needs an ID. ID as suppose I given menu. Okay. How do we access that on database? Database target. Target is equal to hash menu. Database toggle. Toggle is component. Component is drop down. That's it. Now you can see when I click on this, it opens a drop down. You have a drop down here. Colors and all you can change if you want. Actually, there is a drop down menu. Dark is there. But very recently in latest version, just few weeks back, they removed this. So, but still you can use, but recently few weeks back, they removed this option. They kept an alternative for this. They say that, no, don't use this anymore in future. We have an alternative. Alternative is they added database theme as dark. You can apply database theme as dark, right? You see here, I will save this. It will still work as of now. You see the menu dark will come. This is a drop down. Now in this drop down, actually you can have a list item, class. So this is drop down divider. You can have a divider. After the divider, I will keep another one, class, drop down item, and we will put a span. This class is drop down item text. And here I will say some help like this I am adding. You can see a divider means a separator will come. A separator will be there. Between these two, a line will be there. Actually, if I don't give the menu dark, you can see it. I am removing that. You can see there is a separator there. That is what we call as divider. So this is a simple drop down created by using Bootstrap. Generally, people ask nested drop down, means in the drop down, another drop down, that you can create with JavaScript because you need mouse over click events like functions. By using JavaScript, we can design that. We will do that. This is a simple drop down with some items, and it is not just drop down. Your wish. You see, I am changing this as a, instead of drop down, I am changing this as a drop right, drop end, which is right. Then you see what happens. I click on it, it will open right side. It opens right side, drop right, drop down, drop up. But in order to use drop up, there must be space up. Otherwise, it will not work. You see, I drop up, but it will not open up. It will open down. To open up, what we have to do, you need some space above. Suppose above we are having some space, then this drop up will work. That depends on the space availability. So it is not just drop down. That's the reason I given a definition called it can have different directions: drop up, drop down, drop and all. So here this is drop down menu item. We have drop down item text. We have a drop down menu dark, and this is obsolete. So obsolete means no longer in use. That means it is marked as obsolete. That means officially they say that, so from the new versions, don't try this. As of now, it is there, it works. But in future releases, they are going to completely remove this. But first, they will make it available for a few days. So this is a simple drop down. Syntactically, we write like this. A div will have a class drop down. In this, we will have a button which will have class drop down toggle. Means just structure I am giving. In that, we will have a unordered list which is class drop down menu. In this, we will have a list item, drop down item. In that, we have a span. That is drop down item text. To keep proper alignments, you need this. Unordered list and div close. That is the basic hierarchy. A drop down with a drop down toggle with a menu and an item. That's the basic hierarchy. Right. So example I will give here. Let me copy this example for you. That's the example we are having. So how to create nested drop downs? You can design actually nested cascading drop downs. Cascading means one drop down I select, related list will open in another drop down. Such things we do with JavaScript and jQuery. So that is bootstrap drop down. Next important, one more thing you need to know is about, you need to know another concept, that is nav bar. Nav bar. Another one is nav bar. Actually, so it is used to create a responsive navigation bar for application. Responsive navigation for application you can create by using nav bar. A good dynamic responsive navigation bar you can create. Actually, nav bar have some important classes. So we have the classes nav bar expand LG SM, nav bar toggler icon, navbar brand. So navbar navbar collapse. These are the options. So to design a navbar, so you have nav menu and we have nav item. Nav menu and nav item. So these are the classes required for designing. The colors you can apply. So navbar dark, navbar light. You can apply dark and light. So actually these are combination with BG dark. BG you can say contextual. BG contextual, that is background contextual. So this is navbar navigation. Let's see how a dynamic navbar looks like. Why it is called responsive? Because it can adjust itself according to screen. So this navbar can adjust itself according to your screen. You are watching on mobile, you are watching on tab. It fits accordingly, it changes accordingly. That's what I. So here, see, let's create a navbar here. Navbar, yeah. Actually, in the navbar, this is all the Bootstrap scripts are common. So first, I am creating a simple div and with a class navbar. Navbar have navbar expand LG, that is for large screen, maximum large screen. And we have navbar dark and BG dark. I am using a dark navbar. This is navbar expand and dark, and it looks like this. This is a navbar we are having at the top, black, empty navbar. Usually the company name. So how you make it responsive? To make it responsive, you have to put a div class container fluid. It becomes responsive. Container fluid for responsive. Inside body, any element you make our brand. It is called navbar brand. Company names are called as brands. Navbar brand, you can see the brand will come like this. Automatically, the brand is having a different padding, font and all. That is a navbar brand we are having. Okay. And you see, you have another one, button. This button is called navbar toggler. It will have a span called navbar toggler icon button. And you see here, you cannot see a toggler button because this is a responsive navbar. I will resize the window and I will adjust the width. A button will come here now. You can see there is a button. That is a toggler button. And when I expand the width, that button is disappeared. That button will not be there. When you adjust the width, the button will come. The button is going to display. Generally, what we do when width is more, we put menu items, home, about, contact and all. When width is adjusted, shrinked, we hide and we put them under this button so that when user clicks the button, it will open. You can keep it anywhere you want. So the direction, suppose I will remove this button from here above the brand name I am giving. Then what happens is usually when you adjust the width, automatically width adjusted, the brand name will come right side and this will be left. Button will be left. You are adjusting, automatically it will fit accordingly. Brand name will go left. Now this navbar is responsive. It needs some items. So here we have to design. After this, we have to design a div. This is called as navbar collapse. We need a navbar collapse. And this navbar collapse, by default, it should have collapse. We are keeping navbar collapse. And what we will do is this navbar will have a list of items. That means we will create an unordered list and we will put a so navbar, yeah, we will keep a menu item nav class as what? Nav what? Text. Navbar text we can add there. That's how nav item and navbar text. We can just add this. Without that also, you just keep item. It is enough. You see home. Like this, I will copy some options. And you see now, this is now item home, some shop, and have some pages, and say some blog like this. We are having some options like this. We have like contact like this. And this navbar navigation margin end as auto, means margin right is auto, margin bottom is some 1. Like this, we are adding some option. Now you see here, this collapse should work for this button. You know, this needs an ID. What is the ID? The ID for this is, we will keep the ID for this as hash. This is like menu, right? On button click, it should open. You know what to do. Data BS what? Target. Target is what? Menu. And data BS toggle. Data BS toggle, it is what? Collapse. Because it is a collapse. Usually, this is the item. Actually, in this, you see these items are there. We have home, shop, pages and all. Generally, this is the navbar navigation. Navbar navigation, in that we are having navbar items. Actually, we configure this as, this is defined as, suppose nav have an option. So navbar, nav only, yeah. Navbar nav item, and where is this nav text? We haven't applied anywhere text. Let's see. This button will come, pop up. It should open this text. It is there. Color is not there. We need to apply the color correctly. I will give background color. Dark, BG dark I am giving. Let's say remove this BG dark so that you can see the items. So now I'm having this, and you can see now the items will only when you are adding this. That means increasing the width, and decrease it will adjust. We can add colors and effects. Let's add colors and effects here. Usually we used an unordered list for designing. Let's create in this collapse. We are having a simple nav bar navigation, not for unordered list I am using. Let's keep a div. We will keep a div, and with the class what? Nav bar as what? Nav. And here we will add a span. So class as what? Nav item. And what is that item here? Home. And you see, I will give the background. Now I will apply a background. Nav bar as dark. And BG as what? Dark. You can apply background colors and effects, anything you want. Okay, then what is the effect for this? So we will put here text white, text white, then it will display that here. Okay. Now this will have margin bottom 2 and margin end as auto. Okay, then you can see it will display like this. You can add other items here. I will copy them, and other items I am adding. Just placements I am giving. Page, another one is some shop, another option is some blog, like this. You add anything you want here. Now see, I am adjusting this, then automatically width is increasing. Those items will come side by side. You can adjust the placements and all. Already we learned options like display flex, justify content. So you can add different options for that. That means suppose margin end as some 3, like this we are adding. That means you will have some space. For every item, you can add some space. I am adding some spaces here, and you can see it will display in this way. That depends your requirement, how you want to put colors, effects and all. Now why it is a responsive nav bar? When I adjust the width, automatically and I but it will click and you can choose colors, anything you can give. I just given dark. Actually, suppose I given as warning, and you can see it will be like this. I'm giving as primary, danger. So all these effects, that's your requirement, and according to that it is going to display. So this is a dynamic navigation bar you can create. And remember, here as a nav item, you can keep anything you want. It's not necessary that you should have only these. You can put a search bar. Suppose you keep a span, and here we will put a class. What is it? Nav item. Inside this nav item, we are keeping an input type is equal to text. I will put a placeholder. Placeholder is some search, Amazon something. And after that we have a button. This button have class BI what? Search. And some BTN warning, something like this we added. That means you can see a search bar is also displayed in that menu. right? You can add a search bar and you can see usually what happens when I click on it, it will open and show. A search bar is displayed. So you can add here. So BTN and BTN warning, then it will have that button appearance correctly. You can have a text box appearance also, class as what? Form control. Then text box will have that appearance form control. You know how to keep side by side. To keep side by side, what we have to do? Input group I can give now. Input group will keep side by side. So when you are adjusting the width, automatically it will come here. When you are decreasing, it will fit. So this is a dynamic navigation bar that you have to do by using all these options. These are the different classes for creating a proper navigation. Here, some elements order is important. If you miss, it will not work. What is that order? I will show you here syntax. The order for this is you must have a class navbar with compulsory navbar expand. If you miss this, you can't see the navbar. So navbar dark. So BG dark like this. That is a navbar. And inside the navbar, we have a div class container fluid. This is compulsory. Otherwise, it will not be responsive properly. And here you can have a brand name. Navbar brand, and which will say some title. And you need a toggler button. Navbar toggler. Just basic syntax order I am giving. Below that you need a navbar nav. So this navbar nav will have navbar collapse. That's the structure. I'm giving mandatory structure. If you miss that, it will not work. Example, I will copy. The basic mandatory structure is this actually. That means you written a navbar and you forgot to give navbar expand LG. It will not work. You forgot to give container fluid. It will not be responsive. If you forget to give toggler, then button will not come for toggling. If you forget to give collapse, then there will be no items list expanding and collapse. That is all mandatory things. And in the same order, you need to configure. You can shift the order of span and button. So this is a dynamic navigation bar. Generally in web design, these will help us to fastly design a simple navigation. But it's not necessary that everybody have to use this. Many companies, what they do is they design their own navbars with the JavaScript, jQuery, Bootstrap combinations, right? They don't directly use this every time. Depends. I will copy this example. This is the example for a navbar. Okay. Now another in the Bootstrap components, you have spinners and progress. We have spinners and progress. These are simple things. These you need in regular occasions in further programming and all. Actually, they are used to show the status of task performed in page. To show the status of any task performed in page, we use these spinners. Actually, we have classes like we have a spinner border, spinner border SM or LG. We have spinner grow. We have spinner grow SM or LG size. We have progress. We have progress bar. We have progress bar stripped. And we have progress bar animated. These are spinners and progress bars. Actually, I showed a progress bar to you in HTML. Meter progress bar I showed you. So anywhere, if you want to show the status of any task performed, you can try this in spinners and all. Let's see how they work. Actually, spinner is used for, let's say, spinner. So here, generally spinners and progress bar used for status. I will show you here spinners, how they look. We have a simple div or a simple span. Class spinner. Spinner border we have. Spinner border is nothing but it is going to display like this. That is spinner. We have spinners. Generally, we use this for loading, downloading, uploading some status. Usually, we are keeping some word here like loading, and you see it shows. You can keep in a button. I will put a button. In that, I will keep this and the class BTN and BTN primary, and you can see it will be like this. And if you want a small one, so you can use spinner border SM. SM is small. You can see it looks like this. You want to change the color, then you have to just apply text color. Text suppose warning. Then grow SM. Then you have a grow type and spinner border type. Grow is like this. That is a grow type. That means it's just like blinking and displaying. So we have spinners with border and a spinner with grow. Generally, such status you can show in a progress bar also. You see, if you want to design a progress bar, I'm just adding a div. This div will have a class progress, and see progress will give a bar. I will give margin top 3, some down. You see a gray bar is there. And in this progress, we have to keep a div, and this we will put as progress bar. And how much it should say, suppose say 30% completed. Then how you will show that 30% completed? You see it looks like this. But how to show 30% completed correctly? We have to apply style width as 30%. Then it will show correctly 30%. That means we have to define the width 30%. Then it will display 30%. You can change colors and effects and all. For example, remember another progress bar in the same progress, that is suppose 70% remaining. So remaining like this I am giving, and here we need to give much 7, and you see 70% remaining. For the 70% remaining, it will have that different color. I will give as a what, then it will, you can add one. You can add 30% remaining, and here I added one more 30% waiting, and I will give as BG. BG is warning, and you can see there can be so many combinations. And better now I give this as how much percent. So this is 30, 30. So this I will give as 40. I will just give like this. It will be in this way. That is a progress bar actually. And progress bar can have effects like, for progress bar, I can give progress bar animated. Animated, so that will come with strips. Progress bar stripped also. Then you can see strips and animations will come. That I have to apply for the progress bar. And you can see this is the progress bar stripped and animated. Slightly lines are moving. So you can apply this also, progress bar as animated and progress bar as stripped. And you can see the lines are moving. A small animated lines will be there inside. Generally JavaScript and jQuery, they will teach you how to increase and decrease this percent dynamically. Depending on the situation, we can do that. That are good and if you want, you can download lot of spinner gifs will be there. You can try them. Usually this is the combination of progress and spinner. You can just apply the combination like this. Syntax for spinners, you can add class as spinner border and text success like this. That gives a spinner. You can also have a spinner grow and text danger, something like this. You have two types of spinners. For progress, you have first design, you have to design progress. Inside the progress, you have to design progress bar. Progress bar. You can have progress bar stripped and progress, you need to maintain the progress bar. Progress bar stripped, progress bar animated. So these are all the important Bootstrap components you need to know, right? This is enough to work with Bootstrap. Now you need to implement this in your JavaScript. You need to use these all components while working with JavaScript combination now. Models, pop-ups, whatever you learned, you have to connect them with JavaScript. Let's see how now the concept of JavaScript works. So you have till now seen how to design the markup, how to define styles for the markup, and we can make the markup more simplified. That is how we handle simplified. I already told you this is not a UI, it's only for Java. And but I additionally given you some idea on the Bootstrap so that you can create good designs with interactions, right? Usually if any other batches you are attending, there no Bootstrap, right? So I just additionally given you so that it will have a good idea, because our JavaScript examples will deal with this, because majority of my JavaScript examples I use Bootstrap. So you will be familiar with that now, right? That's the reason I explained this. Actually, we don't have a Bootstrap for you, right? Now, initially, once you are good with this, understanding these Bootstrap components, now we can start working with the concept of what? JavaScript. Now we can start understanding and working with the concept of JavaScript. Actually, what general JavaScript is and what people wrongly think about it, I will explain. Because people have a different idea on JavaScript. If you ask a Java or PHP or he may say JavaScript is the first decision. So JavaScript, what is used, we will see. So JavaScript is lightweight, just in time, just in time, compiled and interpreted programming language. JavaScript is lightweight, just in time, compiled and interpreted programming language. We call it as it is a lightweight, interpreted or compiled programming language. What is this point? I will tell you. Actually, what is the concept here? Generally, JavaScript is lightweight. That is simple to understand. That means it is not heavy in memory. It is lightweight. Using like interpreters, compilers, assembler. Am I right? Interpreters, compiler, assemblers will be there. Interpreter will translate line by line. That means there are 10 lines in a program, line by line translation happens. Compiler will translate all lines at a time. JavaScript have both. JavaScript in some situations works interpreted, and JavaScript in some situations works compiled. Actually, it supports both techniques. Both techniques. That means interpreted allows to translate line by line. Interpreted allows to translate line by line of program. Interpreted allows to translate line by line. Interpreter allows to translate line by line program. Then interpret program compiled. Actually, compile allows to translate lines simultaneously at the same time. At the same time, it will allow. Interpreter line by line, and compiler will translate all lines. So JavaScript is a programming language, and it have both techniques. It has interpreted techniques and it have compiled. Actually, in software programming, there are two types of compiling techniques. In software programming, there are two types of compiling techniques. One is JIT, another one is AOT. In computer programming, there are two types of compiling techniques: JIT compiling and AOT compiling. Time and head and JavaScript use techniques. Actually, JIT and AOT some program. That means actually this is an application. In this application, there is program.js. It's a JavaScript program. Then what happens is, actually, this program have to compile. That means it need to translate. There are two translating techniques. This program will first load into browser and it will translate in browser. That means the program will load into browser and there it will translate. That means at application level, it is not translating. It is translated. What is advantage of this is it is translated only when it is required. You requested it, then it will translate it. Otherwise, it will not translate. This is called this technique is called JIT. We call this technique JIT, just in time. The at the moment you want, then it will translate it just itself. That means the program is translated in application itself. It is not translated in browser. At application itself, it will translate and only the result is sent to browser. Only the result is sent to browser. Earlier, what used to happen? Program loads in browser and the result is shown in browser. But now program can run outside browser, compile outside browser, and only result will go to browser. This is more faster. So just 2-3 years back, not 2-3 years, just 1-2 years only. 1-2 years back, all JavaScript technologies like Angular, React, everybody was using JIT mechanism. Everybody was using JIT mechanism. From past 1-2 years, they changed from JIT to AOT. They added new compiling systems and they changed from JIT to AOT. That means if you go to the features of Angular, React, like latest versions, they tell that in our latest version, we are using AOT mechanism. What is the advantage of AOT mechanism? It improves the performance of application. It will be more faster. Right? So kind of complete. One is and then the program is compiled in browser. Before it goes to browser, if you then use the so that is actually compiled in browser, where program is loaded into browser and compiled in browser. So the full form better I give here. This is just in time. AOT is ahead of time. So JIT. And AOT is a mechanism where the program is compiled. A program is compiled and translated at application level. At application level. So it is faster and improves performance of application. Latest, we are using this technique. That is the reason now for JavaScript, you can use this word also. That means JavaScript is a interpreted and compiled programming language. Not only just in time compiled, it is also ahead of time compiled. Ahead of time compiled. So JavaScript is a language which is lightweight, which is interpreted, and which is compiled. So it supports both techniques, interpreted, compiled techniques. And very important is javascript supports javascript supports various programming approaches. It supports various programming approaches like structural programming, like imperative programming, like procedure programming, object oriented programming, dynamic programming, imperative structural programming. Different types of programming approaches are supported. Actually, if you are learning any language like Java or .NET languages, there are so many approaches, programming approaches. These are all programming approaches. Then what is the meaning of these approaches? You are going to learn. I will explain them. What is structural programming? What is imperative programming? Those things we will discuss, right? JavaScript supports so many types of programming approaches. What are these? You are going to learn. You will learn. Another important, JavaScript is a language which is used client side, which is used server side, which is used in database, used client side, server side, and in database, and it is used for animations. So many. So JavaScript is a very big language. Now, sometimes people just know it as only client side. And due to that, you see several people say JavaScript is a client side script, which is wrong. Because they don't know that JavaScript is used server side also. JavaScript is used in databases also. So you can't call JavaScript as a client side script, right? You may be using JavaScript client side, but JavaScript is not just a client side. It is server side script also. JavaScript is used client side with HTML, Angular, React, Vue, such technologies. JavaScript is used in server side with technologies like Node.js. Node.js uses JavaScript server side. And JavaScript is used in databases like MongoDB. MongoDB is a database which uses JavaScript, all JavaScript functions and all. And JavaScript is used for animations like 3ds Max, like AutoCAD, CAD systems. It is used in softwares like Flash, 2D Flash, 3D Flash like softwares. So it's a very big software. It is a very big language. You know it as only one way, right? Because Java people learn with HTML, they think it is a client-side script. But JavaScript is very huge. It is used client-side, it is used server-side, it is used in databases, it is used even in animation. It's a very big language. So client-side, it is used what HTML. So it is React. So like developer is not a developer without JavaScript. Any technology, you may belong to Python, Java, .NET, PHP, any technology in the world. Without JavaScript, you are not a software developer. You can't manage, because everywhere you will see this. That means you see different types of job requirements. Java full stack developer, .NET full stack developer, or Java developer, .NET developer, PHP developer. Everywhere you will see the word JavaScript, right? So why it is used, I will show you various reasons. That means JavaScript is not just only client side. It is used in various ways. Client side, server side, database, animations, everywhere we use it. Everywhere we are going to use it. Now the question here is, you are not going to learn server side, database and animations. You are going to learn JavaScript only clients. People who learn Node.js, MongoDB, they use JavaScript server side. When they use JavaScript server side, so many more even JavaScript is used in mobile applications. For mobile application JavaScript. Do you know why OS apps with HTML, CSS, JavaScript? We can build mobile apps with just HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Additionally, this technology is required. This framework is required. That means Cordova. That means you want to build some mobile apps with just HTML, CSS, JavaScript knowledge, you can. But extra, you need to learn this. Then you can easily build. That means this is a framework. This is a framework. Cordova, like Ionic. Ionic is also a framework. These are used for building. These are used for building cross-platform mobile applications. And these are all very important, and they all use JavaScript only. They all use JavaScript. Ionic frameworks, native script. There is a native script. This is actually native script. This also uses the same concept. These are all mobile. That means JavaScript is used for even building native APIs. These are all the application areas. So JavaScript is a very huge language, but you are learning JavaScript only client side. Client side. And why you need JavaScript client side? That means here the question is, what is the role of JavaScript client side? What is the role of JavaScript client side? What is the role of JavaScript client side? Its server side role is different. Its server side role is different. Here the point is, what is the role client side? So let's see what is the role of JavaScript client side. The first important is JavaScript is used client side to reduce burden on server. Burden on server. JavaScript is used client side to reduce burden on server. That is the primary point. That means to reduce burden on server, we use JavaScript. Because everything, if server have to do, it takes a lot of time. Earlier we used to do that. That means you see, actually, earlier we need to handle this. So for example, you see here, server side, client side, burden on server means C. Actually, suppose we have some database database server. Now what happens here is that means the database is in database server. Now what happens is to communicate with the database, you need a server side technology. That means this is server side. You need like Java, JSP, PHP, ASP.NET, Node.js, all these. By using them, what you do is you communicate with the database, get the data from the database. All this you have to do. And actually, you need a middleware software. We need a middleware software which is used for communication. Actually, we have middleware softwares of Cisco middlewares are there. Oracle middlewares are there. Oracle is also having a middleware. You know, Oracle is not just database. Do you know the original functionality of Oracle? Oracle is a very big world's popular ERP tool. ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. World's popular ERP tools, Oracle, SAP. SAP is also same like Oracle. Do you know Oracle have Oracle Admin, Oracle Financials, Oracle Business Intelligence? You heard about them? Oracle is not database. You know only database in Oracle. You just know Oracle as database. That is the same point I am explaining here. That means if I ask what is Oracle, what you will say database. Because you know Oracle database, that's it. That's the reason if I ask what is JavaScript, you will say client-side script. But Oracle is not database. Oracle is a very big ERP software. It has more than 10, 15 internal tools for different business. SAP have 72 modules, different for business. Oracle have 14, 15 modules. Oracle Financials, Oracle Business Intelligence, OBIEE, what people call as. Oracle is a very big enterprise. ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. So the point is Oracle have middleware, Cisco middleware, Express middleware, so many are there. Usually what happens is these middleware are responsible for creating APIs, application programming interface. Now what happens is from the client side, we need to fill up a form. This is the client. This is the client or you say user. Now here we are providing a form for name and for age. That means they have to fill a form. And these details must be submitted to database. That means user entered some name and user entered some age. Age, he wrongly entered some text, but age must be a number. From here, when he submits these details will first come to the middleware. These details will come to middleware. Middleware will send these details to server. And server will communicate with database and sends to database. Now database will reject the data. Why it rejects the data? Age, it is expecting number, but they are sending a string. Then what happens is it sends back this to the server. Server sends back to the middleware. It will send back to the client saying that age is wrong. This is very lengthy process. That means earlier, just 4-5 years back, actually, our development style was 20% we design client side and 80% we design server side. Now this ratio shifted. 20% only server side, 80% client side. This ratio changed now very recently. That is the reason the demand for full stack developers came. Why demand for full stack developers came? That means a Java developer says that I don't know front end. Then company says that then I don't want you. Why? Because we can't have specialists. That means we can't have white elephants anymore in our companies. You know white elephants? White elephants are very rare. They have to take very high level feeding, but they don't do anything. Right? That means we don't need these white elephants. These days, a software developer must be not a specialist. He must be an RMP doctor. You know RMP doctor? An RMP doctor give medicine for everything. Understood? We don't want a neurosurgeon. Right? A neurosurgeon can see only neuro. Right? That means the point here is these days we want a person who can do everything. Right? If government give permission, RMP doctor will do a heart operation also. Right? He will do. Right? The point here is that means you can do in software companies also, you can do everything, but they are afraid of you. They will say that no, you do only this, rest of things your senior will do. Somebody else will manage. You are a full stack developers, but you are not involved to do everything. They will restrict your functionalities. That is the reason the demand for full stack developers increased these days, because the ratio of development changed. Earlier, lot of server side. That's the reason we need Java developer, PHP developer. But now you say Java developer, they are not satisfied. They say that no, we want Java with React, Angular and all this, because majority shifted to front end. That is the reason as a Java developer, you apply for companies for calls will not come only with Java like concepts. You need to show Java with Angular, Java with React, Java with Vue, some front end technology compulsory, otherwise no calls. Companies are not going to call you as Java .NET developer without any front end frameworks and libraries. 100%. They will not call. Many people complain that I am uploading resume as a Java developer and calls are not coming from Naukri. Why? Because they will never call you if you don't show any front-end library or framework. These days, no chance. We don't entertain only Java, .NET, PHP developers. They need complete front-end. Now, what is the problem here? Everything server have to manage. It will takes time. Then what we do is, when user enters the details, we will verify these details here itself. We will verify client side. If we can verify those details client side and they are correct, then we will send to middleware. Then you are reducing burden on server, because everything goes to server and come back. That is difficult. So what is the main aim of JavaScript is to reduce burden on server. Reduce burden on server. How it will reduce burden on server? How it reduces burden on server? Not just validations. JavaScript will do lot of things client side. JavaScript will do lot of things client side. That is not just validation. Again, people have a wrong idea about it. When you ask what is the purpose of JavaScript, then they will say JavaScript is used for validation, sir. But JavaScript is not just only for validations. Reducing burden on server means it can be done in several ways. Actually, JavaScript handles so many things. DOM manipulations. DOM manipulation means like adding element into DOM, removing element from DOM, updating data into element, data into element. into element. Configuring styles to DOM dynamically. All these are DOM manipulations. JavaScript handles DOM manipulations. JavaScript handles browser interactions. Browser interactions like browser versions compatibility, browser version compatibility, plugins. So client location, so client history. So client browser window operations, all these comes under browser interactions. So browser extensions, all these it can manage. JavaScript handles DOM manipulations, JavaScript handle browser interactions, and JavaScript handles validations. Validation is the part of JavaScript. So JavaScript is not just only for validation. JavaScript is used for doing so many things. The DOM manipulations, the browser interactions, the validations, everything is done. It's not just only validation. So adding elements, removing elements, updating data into elements, configuring the styles dynamically, right? Browser interactions means suppose you want to add a plugin into browser, you want to remove a plugin from browser, you need to know whether plugin is there or not. For example, when you open browser, it will ask your location. When you open any website in browser, it will ask your location. It will pop up and it will say allow location. And when you open a browser, it will ask that cookies are not enabled. Please accept cookies. That is all JavaScript. Why you need that? I'll tell you. We will discuss that. So JavaScript is not just for validation. It is used for doing lot of interactions. So manipulations and interaction. So now how these are handled, we will see practically. That we'll see in next session, right? Monday we will discuss about JavaScript history versions. What are the versions and which version we are going to learn, and we will start practically working with it, right? Monday will continue, right? Yeah.